Hi everyone, it's Chris here. Last week I sent an email to all TWU students explaining the changes to the marking sheet for Assignment 2, Parts 2, 3 and 4. And this video is just to add extra information about that change. Basically, the new marking sheet is the same as the old one, except we have combined some of the criteria and added further explanation, so hopefully it's a little clearer as to how we mark the assignments, and also explains to you what you need to do to get a particular grade. Okay, so let's have a look at the marking sheet. There are four main criteria to these assessments, and they are content, structure, vocabulary, and grammar. In terms of content, we're looking to see how well you have completed the task. So for a high distinction, it would mean that you have comprehensively addressed all aspects of the task and you've done that to an exceptionally high standard. We're also looking to see that the content is thoughtful and original. So a distinction is very similar to that, but may not have quite the level of thoughtfulness or originality that we would expect in a high distinction. A credit means that you've addressed most aspects of the task, but some aspects might be more fully covered than others, so one part of the assignment might be better than another. In terms of a pass, it means you've addressed most aspects of the task, but some parts are either inadequate or irrelevant, so you might have gone off topic a bit. Now, a fail means that you've failed to meet the minimum standards for that criterion, and that would mean that some of the assessment is inadequate or irrelevant, or a fairly substantial proportion of it is. In terms of structure, we're looking at things like the quality of the headings, which may not apply to all assignments, but it will apply to some. We're also looking at organisation, cohesion between paragraphs and sentences, and we go on to explain what that is in the materials for week 5. And we're also looking at presentation, so how does it look visually on the page and how well does it kind of fit together. So in terms of a high distinction, we're looking for clear presentation that's logical and cohesive, demonstrates flair, not in a creative writing kind of sense of flair, because you still have to be consistent with the conventions of technical writing, but there's some element of that's really done well there. It might be the way that it's constructed, very skillful links between ideas, that kind of thing. A distinction means that it's still clear, logical, cohesive, and consistent with the conventions of technical writing. There might be very few problems, but it may just not quite have the flair of a high distinction. A credit means that it's mostly clear, logical and cohesive and consistent with the conventions of technical writing, but there might be a few minor lapses here and there, and that kind of detracts from the overall presentation and cohesion of the document. A pass means that you've basically got the basics right, being clear, logical, cohesive, most of the conventions of technical writing, but there might be lots of small lapses here and there, and that detracts from the professionalism of the document. A fail means that you generally haven't been consistent with the conventions of technical writing, and there might be numerous problems with how it's organised or how ideas are linked. In terms of vocabulary, we're looking for the appropriateness of academic and technical jargon. And what that means is, basically, if you introduce a technical term, do you explain it? And do you explain the right terms? So are you explaining words that an average audience might not understand, or are you explaining words that they probably would, in which case they don't need explanation? So getting that balance right is, and getting that very well done, that would be a high distinction. A distinction might means that it's mostly pretty good. There might be the odd place where the explanation could be clear, or the terms could be better chosen, but mostly pretty good. A credit means that it's mostly okay and mostly well chosen for the audience and the purpose, but there might be some casual or overly complex vocabulary in there. A pass means that, basically it's easy enough to read, and the technical terms or the vocab used is about right, but there might be some places where it's overly casual or overly complex throughout the document. And a fail means that it's frequently too casual, overly complex, or inappropriate, and that kind of detracts from the readability of the text. In terms of grammar, we're looking for 3 of the things that make technical writing technical, and they are clarity, conciseness, and correctness. So high distinction means that it's consistently adheres to those principles. A distinction means that it's almost always clear and concise and correct, but there might be a few minor errors here and there. A credit means that there might be some recurring lapses, but generally the meaning is quite clear. And a pass means that it's mostly understandable, but there might be quite a few lapses, and occasionally it's a bit difficult to understand exactly what you're saying. A fail means that it's frequently not clear and or concise, and there are lots of errors that really make it difficult to read, and the reader constantly stumbles through the text trying to figure out what's going on. Okay, so that's a basic overview of the grading criteria for these assessments. Now, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact your lecturer, as we're more than happy to explain how we mark assignments.
Okay, I wish you all the best with your assignments, and I look forward to reading your work. Bye for now.